flash, bright like a roaring fight. Crypto and dreams under stadium lights. Sweat and fire, hearts ignite. Even sports buffet, with the Ginch we play. Highlights, wild scores collide. It's the riot live tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, week one of the NFL concludes tonight. I have to hold this mic up to my mouth because for some odd reason, if I put it down here, you don't hear me as well. Welcome to another edition of Early Eating Sports Buffet with the Ginch. I am said Ginch, Ryan Neff. Did your team win? How did they look? Did they look like ass? Or were you pleasantly surprised by their performance? I hope your team won, by the way. I've got my certain teams that I can't stand, but I digress. But welcome again to another edition, Early Evening Sports Buffet with the Ginch. What did we witness yesterday? Well, breaking news. George Kittle, I like to call him George Brittle, because that's what he is. He is to miss multiple weeks with a hamstring injury. He suffered in the first half of the team's week one win against the Seattle Seahawks. Brock Purdy suffered a left shoulder and toe injury in the game, making him uncertain, for the Niners' week two matchup against New Orleans. Again, George Kittle's always hurt. Anybody that's followed him in the 49ers, he just has a propensity for getting hurt. He's brittle. Some guys are, unfortunately. So we will see. Have to keep an eye on that. So again, what do we witness this weekend in the NFL? I won't get into any college football because I'm saving that for Student Body Right, which comes up at 8 o'clock on the Cole County Entertainment Network, which you're seeing this on right now. You can see this on the Facebook or the Twitter, whatever the hell they call it. The Facebook. I'm not sure if it's on Instagram or not. I don't think I'm on Instagram. But again, we go to the NFL. It's week one. It started last Thursday, obviously, with the Eagles and the Cowboys. Neither defense could stop one another. I won't get any of the statistics and stuff like that, just because I'm saving all that for end zone tomorrow. Completion of the Minnesota-Chicago game today. There were only 3 points scored in the second half, but neither offense could stop one another in the first half. Of course, this was Spitgate. And look, what Jalen Carter did was asinine, stupid. A mistake, obviously, and he should get suspended. But if you take a look at the whole video, Dak Prescott, who hides behind two of his linemen and spits downward, he didn't spit on anybody. What kind of punishment should he have? I'm not so sure. We'll see what the NFL does. They suspend Jalen for spitting on Dak. Dak was spitting in his direction. He just didn't spit on him. And I think Dak should get, I don't know, maybe they suspend him for the first half of the game. I don't know. But look, the Cowboys snatched defeat away from victory. There were drop passes. There was the Spitgate. But look, the Eagles came out on top 24-20. Obviously, if coulda, shoulda, woulda. But had CD Lamb not dropped some balls, would have been a different story, maybe. Cowboys might have come away with the victory. And it's the same old, same old. Losing teams and losing organizations find ways to lose. And when you're on the right side of that coin, winning organizations find ways to win. And that's what the Eagles did. So anybody that watched the game, again, first half was entertaining. The second half sucked. It was not entertaining whatsoever. So 24-20 was the score. Then on Friday, my Kansas City Chiefs lose to the Chargers 27-21 in Brazil. I tried to tell people Chiefs aren't making the playoffs this year. We know what we get with the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh. Ground and pound, dink and doink, play solid defense. End of story. The Chargers looked ready to play. They were enthusiastic. They brought the energy. The Chiefs, on the other hand, looked disinterested. They looked like they wanted to be in Brazil. And again, I'll say this, they're trying to run it back with the same people they've had for the last 2-3 years. They did nothing to upgrade their receivers. They did nothing to upgrade their running back room. Their defense is older. Kelsey's older. Patrick's a little bit older. And I until they prove me wrong, I am doing nothing to back off my prediction that the Chiefs will not make the playoffs. They're old. And they look disinterested. They don't look hungry. When they won the Super Bowl in back-to-back years, they looked hungry. They looked hungry. They don't look hungry anymore. Maybe they're full. Maybe they just need to have a bowel movement. Maybe empty their system out. That way they'll be hungry again. I don't know. And then the weekend's games. The Buccaneers and Falcons were doing everything to lose the game on both their parts. Of course, the Falcons with a missed field goal. Look, this game was back and forth. It was 10-10 at half. It was entertaining, actually, even though there was some fugly football yesterday, and I'll get to that a little bit later. I had the Buccaneers winning this game, but the Falcons, competitive. Young team will have to learn how to win games like this. Obviously, a divisional matchup. But the Buccaneers were on the road for the 23-20 win. The Bengals beat the Browns 17-16. Again, Zach Taylor's team playing down to the competition. Browns came to play at home. I was sitting there watching the game on the big screen at the casino, thinking to myself, it's the same old Bengals, man. Played out of the competition. Both teams struggled. Period. Offensively, they struggled. Defenses kind of had their way in this matchup. But the last couple of years, the Bengals would have lost games like this. And they did. They did everything in their power to give the Browns the W. But Browns are the Browns. 17-16 Bengals. In the laugher of the day, the Colts beat the shit out of the Dolphins 33-8. It was bad. Like really bad. Colts came to play. I had the Dolphins winning. Look, Mike McDaniel, he might be a nice guy. I don't know him personally. Seems like a cool dude. But this team, they don't respond to him anymore. They're soft. They panic. He doesn't panic on the sideline, but there's no oomph. There's no chutzpah. There's like none of it. Miami right now, they stink. They're horrible. And the Tyreek Hill trade watch will be on. Some people have him pegged to go maybe back to Kansas City. I don't know. He's a head case. He gets reunited with Mahomes. Maybe he can do a little damage. I don't know. But the Dolphins are a mess. Tua looks horrible. Tyreek's not happy. Jalen Waddle, who knows? A-Chan couldn't get going yesterday. A-Chain. It was bad. And look, give Colts all the credit in the world. They came, took it behind the woodshed, beat the hell out of them. A disappointing performance in this next game by the Patriots. I had the Patriots winning this. Raiders came to play, did just enough, won 20-13. Again, I'm not going to go into stats and stuff like that. I'll save that for tomorrow. Raiders outplayed them. They just did. They wanted it more. Sloppy conditions. It was raining. I expected a little bit more out of the Patriots, and the Raiders were the ones who came to play and did just enough. I mean, it was 10-7 at the half. The Patriots were up. And then the Raiders defense kind of took control. It was all she wrote. Another kind of snoozer. The Cardinals went on the road, beat the Saints 20-13. I had the Cardinals winning this game. Saints competed. Again, I'm not going to go over stats. I'll save that for tomorrow. There was only 6 points scored in the second half. So the defenses made the adjustments. Cardinals were up 14-10 at the half. But the defense made the adjustments. Look, Cardinals just made a couple more plays than the Saints did. Saints were a little bit more competitive than I thought that they would be. But the Cardinals with the 20-13 win. Steelers, Jets. Anybody who watched this game, the Jets had it won. And then the wheels fell off. The Jets stopped the Steelers on third down. There was a late hit out of bounds. Changed the whole complexion of the game. Changed the momentum. Changed it. The whole complexion of the game. Jets had no business losing that game. None. But like I said, losing organizations, losing teams, find ways to lose games. Of course, there was the muff punt. That didn't help either. Turnovers, undisciplined. That's what led to the Jets losing this game. And they made Aaron Rodgers look like 25-year-old Aaron Rodgers. Aaron's not going to have that kind of game every game. Not going to happen. Period. Won't happen. But again, the Jets snatched defeat away from victory, and then they have the Bills next. The Commanders beat the Giants 21-6. Kind of a boring game. Defensive struggle for a while. And look, with the Giants, I'll say this. And I know Dayball came out today, head coach for the Giants, and said that they're sticking with Russ. But for how long? He's missing reads. He's still mobile. And why didn't they use Scatterbo more often? I have no idea. No clue. But I said maybe by the 4th or 5th week of the season, we're going to see Jackson Dart. Maybe Jackson Dart comes in and gives him a spark. When Russell Wilson struggles, the whole offense struggles. It's not just him. He struggles. The entire offense struggles. And what you saw yesterday was just another snippet of the Russell you've seen the last couple of years. Maybe the game's passed him by maybe a little bit. I don't know. But Dayball came out today and said he's sticking with him. The Commanders, again, solid defensively. Maybe a little bit more from the run game from them. McLaurin was kind of held in check. So, but the Commanders with the win in the divisional matchup. The game was delayed by almost like 2 hours. This was the Panthers and the Jags. Jaguars win 26-10. Panthers looked horrible. The Bryce Young, the second half of the season last year, Did not show up this game. He threw 2 picks. Again, I won't get into stats. That will be for tomorrow. They lose 26-10. Travis Etienne had a day. I think he will have a stranglehold on the running back 1 position for the Jags for right now. We'll see what happens. But the Panthers, look, I thought the Panthers would come out this year and be sort of a surprise team, be tough out. They looked horrible yesterday. They just really did horrible. The Broncos Titans 20-12. I thought this game would be a blowout. It's 10-9 at the half. Titans were actually up 12-10 in the third quarter. And it was 13-12, and then the Broncos scored in the fourth quarter to make it 20-12. Bo Nix looked awful. Sean Payton said that there were going to be some wrinkles in the offseason. I saw none of it. Kind of a boring-ass football game, to be quite honest with you. There was nothing spectacular about this game that jumped off the page. But the Broncos with the win. 49ers beat the Seahawks 17-13. I thought the 49ers would blow them out. It was 10-7 at the half. Seahawks were up. Again, the 49ers did just enough to win. Defensively, they were sound. Offensively, it was something to be desired. And now Kittle's out. George Brittle, what I call him. And look, the Seahawks just, it might take a while for the cohesion to take place with the Seahawks, but the 49ers with the win in a divisional matchup. Another divisional matchup, Lions-Packers. Packers win 27-13. Lions looked outgunned. Packers took the roar out of them. 17-3 at the half. Lions never really threatened. And look, it's week 1. I see people saying, well, the Lions have regressed. We didn't expect that much of a drop off. Dude, it's Lambeau Field, first game of the year, divisional matchup. What did you think was going to happen? I picked the Packers to win this division. Again, with the Lions, still have questions about their defense. With all the weapons they have on offense, they'll be fine. Team's always going to have a game like this where it's not going to go the way you want it. Rams beat the Texans 14-9. Texans were up 9-7 at the half. Boring game. I expected the Rams to win. I didn't think the score would be 14-9 though. Well, really nothing to write home about with this game. And then we get to last night's game. Good Lord. I tried staying up for most of it. I fell asleep midway through the third quarter. I got up this morning. I saw the final score. I was like, holy shit. Bills 41, Ravens 40. Ravens had no business losing this game. And again, when you have a lead and you're up 40-25, don't get cocky. They thought they had it won. They got lackadaisical. Everybody saw the deflected pass for a touchdown. The fumble by Henry. Lamar Jackson pushing fans. Although he probably had a right to defend himself, but you never want to touch anybody in the stands. The Ravens collapsed. People wonder why I don't pick them for the Super Bowl like everybody else does. 40-25 lead, however minutes were left. I saw the highlights toward the end of the game. These are the kind of games you should win. Period. There's no excuse for you losing a game like that. There's none. Take care of the football. Don't get too cocky. Should be able to win games like this. This kind of game might come back to haunt them, maybe for home field advantage. We'll have to see. Minnesota, Chicago tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings to win this game. I just don't trust Caleb Williams. I think I said that. Let's go to some NFL news. I already mentioned about Kittle and Purdy. I've also mentioned that the Giants are sticking with Wilson as the quarterback one versus the Cowboys. Some other injury news. Looks like the Saints are going to lose safety Julian Blackmon to a shoulder injury. Must be fairly severe. Hopefully he can rehab that sucker, get back. Tennessee Titans coach Brian Callahan, this is reported by Teron Davenport Espen, admitted he incorrectly decided not to challenge an incomplete ruling by the officials that took away a 23-yard reception by rookie receiver. Am I saying the name right? Alec Ayamaner. He said, my interpretation of the rule was wrong. I'll own it. I didn't do a good enough job in that moment, and I should have challenged it, and it probably would have resulted in a potential explosive play. Always good to know the rules. So a brain cramp on his part. Some other injury news. Chargers linebacker Denzel Perryman, he is out indefinitely with an ankle injury, unfortunately, reported by Chris Rim Esplin. You're going to run all kinds of injuries, and we're only into week one. Mike Vrabel said that Belichick is welcome to Patriots facility. If you didn't hear, Belichick doesn't want any of the Patriot staff anywhere near the North Carolina program. Okay, whatever. So let's go to Major League Baseball, shall we? Let's go down the standings as I do every Monday. In the American League East, the Toronto Blue Jays still on top with an 82-61 record, though the Yankees and the Red Sox are right there, closing the gap a little bit. Yankees 80-63 in second, 2 games out. The Red Sox are third, 79-65. They're 3.5 out. The Rays are fourth, 71-72, 11 games out, and the Orioles' season's basically over. 66-77, 16 games out. In the Central, the Detroit Tigers, Dylan Spalding. It's the Ginch. Yes, Dylan, throw him up there. Thanks for tuning in, Mr. Spalding. Your Blue Jays are choking, by the way. They only have a 2-game and a 3.5-game lead now over the Red Sox and the Yankees Red Sox. Detroit 82-62. They hold an 8.5-game lead over second place Kansas City, 73-70. Oh, he works for the Rays now. Jumping ship. Congratulations, my friend. Tampa Bay Rays sort of need to retool what their organization is. I don't think that's the kind of season that the Rays expected, being 71-72 and 11 games out. In the Central, the Guardians are 73-70, 9 games back. The Twins 63-80 and fourth, 15.5 back. And we'd like to thank the Chicago White Sox for participating in this year's Major League Baseball season. They are 55-89, 27 games back. Out west, the Astros 78-66 have a 2.5-game lead on the Mariners in second. The Rangers are 4 games back, 74 and 70 in third. The Los Angeles Angels, 67 and 76, fourth, 10.5 back. And the Athletics, 66 and 78. They are 12 back. National League East. The Phillies still on top, 83 and 60. The Mets in second, 76 and 67, 7 games back. Marlins third, 68 and 77. 17 games back. The Atlanta Braves are 64 and 79, 19 back. The Washington Nationals are last, 58 and 84, 24.5 back. In the Central, the Brewers on top, 89 and 55. Cubs second, 81 and 62, 7.5 back. Reds third, 72 and 71, 16.5 back. The Cardinals fourth, 72 and 72, 17 back. And my pathetic Pirates, the Pittsburgh Pirates, 64 and 80, 25 back. Yet still mathematically in the wild card race. Out there in the West, the Dodgers and the Padres have shit the bed here the last 10 games. Dodgers still on top, 79 and 64, but the Padres are 78 and 65, 1 game back. Giants third, 72 and 71, 7 games back. Diamondbacks fourth, 72 and 72, 7.5 back. And the Colorado Rockies are shining up the golf clubs. Probably already getting out in the links. Last, 40 and 103, 39 games back. Some scores from yesterday. Mariners beat the Braves 18-2. Braves just trying to get through the rest of the season. Guardians beat the Rays 2-1. Dodgers beat the Orioles 5-2. The Brewers hammered the Pirates 10-2. Yankees over the Jays 4-3. The White Sox over the Tigers 6-4. Reds over the Mets 3-2. Marlins over the Phillies. We just always seem to struggle with Miami. 5-4 Marlins. The Twins beat the Royals 5-1. Cardinals over the Giants 4-3. Nationals over the Cubs 6-3. Rangers over the Stros 4-2. Padres over the Rockies 8-1. Angels over the Athletics 4-3. Red Sox over the Diamondbacks 7-4. Games tonight in the Major League Baseball. Right now, bottom of the third, the Guardians up on the Royals 2-0. Nationals, Marlins tied 1 apiece into the third. Phillies up on the Mets in a crucial series, 1-0. It's end of the second. Bottom of the first, Braves up on the Cubs 3-0. Later on, Brewers at the Rangers, Twins at the Angels, Reds at the Padres, Cardinals at the Mariners, Diamondbacks at the Giants, Red Sox at the Athletics, and the Rockies at the Dodgers. Major League Baseball news, Trey Turner was hurt yesterday. He has a grade 1 sprain of his hamstring. Phillies expect him back for the playoffs. They will need him. They expect to do damage in the playoffs. I will get to some other news as my Verizon pad buffers. Anybody who watches my shows knows that technology, I said it before and I'll say it again, tends to shove a red hot poker up my ass as it continues to buffer. We are winding down in the Major League Baseball season. Couple of weeks left till the playoffs start. The Cubs have put closer Daniel Palencia on the injured list. He has a shoulder strain. Just looking over some of the injuries here. Let's see. What other injury news can I... Oh, by the way, Mr. Raleigh for the Mariners belted his 53rd. Oh, he hit 5 home runs. Oh, sorry. He didn't hit 5 home runs. The Mariners collectively hit 5 home runs. I was reading that wrong. As the playoff picture stands right now, in the American League, in the wild card round right now, the Mariners would be at the Stros and the Red Sox at the Yankees. The ALDS would be either the Mariners and the Astros against the Tigers, and the Red Sox and the Yankees against the Blue Jays. In the National League, the wild card round would pit the Mets at the Dodgers and the Padres at the Cubs. Then the NLDS, as it would stand right now, the Mets and the Dodgers would be at the Phillies. Padres and the Cubs. Padres or the Cubs would be at the Brewers. I saw in some NBA news, I saw this reported by ESPN News Services. I'll just read this verbatim. The sister of Minnesota Timberwolves player Naz Reid was fatally shot at a New Jersey apartment complex this weekend, and authorities said Monday that her boyfriend has been charged with the murder. Just reading over the thing here. Police went to the Paragon apartment complex in Jackson around 11 a.m. Saturday after receiving reports of shots fired. They soon found Taraya Reed, only 28, unresponsive near the complex's exit, and she apparently had been shot multiple times. Washington County prosecutor Bradley Billheimer said. Officers also saw Shaquille Green, 29 of Jackson, running down a nearby road, and he was soon taken into custody without incident. That is unfortunate. That is horrible. You never want to read stuff like that. Didn't see anything major in NBA news. Go to the WNBA. Let's go to the standings. Shall we? Excuse me. Right now, the Lynx have the top spot, 33-9. The Aces would be the 2 seed, 28-14. The Dream would be the 3 seed. They're also 28-14, so they are vying for the 2 seed right now. Mercury would be a 4 seed. They're 27-15. The Liberty would be the 5 seed, 25-17. The Valkyries would be the 6 seed, 23-19. Right now, the Fever, Storm, and the Sparks all vying for the last 2 spots. Again, if you're tuning in live or wherever you're tuning in from, thanks for tuning in. Compliments, criticisms. Tell me how your favorite NFL team did, what you thought of it so far. Maybe they stank yesterday. WNBA scoreboard from yesterday. The Fever beat the Mystics 94-65. The Sparks beat the Wings 91-77, and the Aces beat the Sky 80-66. Only one game on tap today, right now, early in the first. Stream up on the Sun, 5-3. I found this interesting. Reported by Alexa Filippo Espin. U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal, Democrat, Connecticut, sent a letter to the NBA on Monday warning the league to stay out of negotiations between the Mohegan Tribe, a prospective new ownership group for the Connecticut Sun, and that any attempts by the WNBA to block efforts to keep the Sun in Connecticut could violate federal antitrust laws. This is going to get ugly. Again, I'm not a lawyer. All that gobbledygook judicial, stuff. Half of it I don't understand anyway. But I have a feeling this will get ugly before it gets better. If you hadn't noticed, the Chicago Sky has suspended Angel Reese. I said this last week about Angel Reese, about her comments about the team and the players and X, Y, and Z. Can't say that shit out in public. You want to keep that stuff indoors. Amongst the team, amongst the organization. But that's who Angel Reese is. She's been like this like she was LSU. I think she's entitled. Period. I don't know why. If Angel Reese were white, purple, gray, pink, blue, I'd be saying the same thing. Gonna do something like that, do it in the locker room. Don't do it out in the media where everybody's watching. Big brothers all around, if you haven't noticed. Every camera is on you, every drone. Period. Big brother. Watch it. There's no soccer news because the English Premier League had off this week. I didn't see any Major League NHL news. Let's go to the world of golf, shall we? The PGA Tour this past weekend out there in Napa, California at the Procore Championship. Oh, I'm sorry. Did the PGA Tour have off this week? I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, that's this weekend. I apologize. I apologize, my friends. Yeah, I don't really see. Yeah. Looks like a lot of them had off this weekend. So I am sorry for that. That's a little bit of misinformation. The LPGA will be at the TPC Rivers Bend this weekend. The Kroger Queen City Championship presented by P&G. PGA Tour champions, they will be in the Minnehaha Country Club out there in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The Irish Open took place this past weekend. It is not sure, I don't know what it is. See, it's not showing me any scores for that, and I apologize. Yeah, it's not really showing me anything. I don't know why. The golf tournament was on yesterday. I don't know why it's not showing me anything. Let me just double check something. Talk amongst yourselves. Yes, Rory McIlroy did win. I thought he did. So he wins in the playoff. Look, with the Ryder Cup coming up, I'm still going to favor the Europeans just because the United States has to prove it consistently. And we all know how they putt when it comes Ryder Cup crunch time. For you NASCAR peeps out there like me, Denny Hamlin won at Gateway yesterday. He punches his ticket to the next round. That was at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. Results from yesterday's race: Josh Berry was 32nd, Daniel Suarez was 35th, Ty Dillon 34th, Zane Smith 33rd, Todd Gilliland 32nd, Riley Herbst 31st, Noah Gregson was 30th, Cody Ward 29th, Justin Haley 28th, Cole Custer was 27th, Alex Bowman was 26th, Shane Van Gisbergen 25th, Ross Chastain was 24th, AJ Chicken Allmendinger was 23rd, Kyle Busch 22nd, Eric Jones 21st. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was 20th, Austin Cindric 19th, Austin Dillon 18th. Brad Keselowski was 17th, Tyler Reddick was 16th. Carson Hocevar was 15th, Michael McDowell was 14th, Ryan Preece was 13th, Kyle Larson 12th, William Byron 11th, Ty Gibbs 10th, Chris Buescher 9th, Bubba Wallace 8th, Christopher Bell 7th, John Hunter Nemechek 6th, Joey Logano 5th, Ryan Blaney 4th, Chase Elliott 3rd, Chase Briscoe 2nd, Denny Hamlin, your winner. Let's look at the standings. After the second race of the playoffs, Josh Berry is 16th, Alex Bowman 15th, Shane Van Gisbergen 14th, Austin Dillon 13th, Austin Cindric 11th, Joey Logano 10th, Chase Elliott 9th, Christopher Bell 8th, Tyler Reddick 7th, William Byron 6th, Ryan Blaney 5th, Bubba Wallace 4th, Kyle Larson 3rd, Chase Briscoe 2nd, and Denny Hamlin is your points leader after the second race of the 10-race playoff. Where are they at this week coming up, you say? They are going to be there at Bristol. Biggest Coliseum basically in the world when it comes to auto racing. Should be an interesting race. There's all kinds of tempers flare. You have all kinds of stuff, people laying a bumper to people. So we'll see. Let's look at some other news and notes. Maybe that would come across the wire. I don't see anything. Like I said, the English Premier League picks up this week again. Let's look over the schedule for this week. I believe it picks up back on Saturday. I could be wrong. Yeah, there are a bunch of international friendlies this weekend. I won't bore you with the scores. As my Verizon pad continues to buffer. And it's buffering. And it's buffering. And it's buffering. So Saturday the 13th. As soon as it pops up here. 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. Arsenal will host Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth. Yep, okay. And of course, it's got a buffer again. Sorry for the technical issues. They said Arsenal's hosting Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth is hosting Brighton. That's at 10 o'clock. Again, my Verizon pad is doing some weird shit. Crystal Palace hosts Sunderland. Everton will host Aston Villa. Fulham hosts Leeds. Newcastle United hosts Wolverhampton. West Ham United hosts Tottenham. And Brentford will host Chelsea. That is all on Saturday. Then the Sunday fixtures, as soon as they pop up here. Burnley hosts Liverpool, and Man City hosts Man United, which will be a big one. That's always a good derby. Again, Minnesota, Chicago tonight. I have Minnesota winning. I won't give you a score. I just don't trust Caleb Williams. So I think I'm going to end it there. 8 o'clock, then from the 8 to 9 hour, it will be student body right. I will be going over the week 2 results at the top 25. Break it down for you. And then week 3 preview. And then it returns which team gets the finger. And I believe the biggest game of the weekend will be Georgia and Tennessee. So just like Lee Corso would do with his head picks, which team gets the number 1 finger? So with all that being said, there's only one thing left to do. Oh, forgot this. Getting ahead of myself. Practice compassion. Practice empathy. Have passion for what you do. Hug somebody. It might make their day. Tell somebody you love them. You might not get a second opportunity. And for the love of Jesus, if you see somebody struggling, please inquire about why they might be struggling. Ask questions. You might be saving a life, or you might be saving lives. There's only one thing left to do, and that's for Dandy Don. Take me out.
Turn out the lights. The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.